Yo, all right. Look at what I got on the screen right now, right? So I don't know, man. I just woke up and, I was just thinking about, fiduciary, and I was thinking about the businesses, and I was thinking about, like just the word and the law, and, God's always talking, right? Right. So then I was like, okay, God, let's have a conversation, man. Right. So I just wanted to lay down some flow. I wanted to lay down this track right here because, it's all about the word, man. And God, just thank you. Thank you for allowing me to wake up another day, and thank you for the shine, man. All right. So, I want to show what's up with the knowledge, right? And then this is what I also want to do. So I also wanted to show the game, man, right? So I typed in chess because, chess means, king or whatnot, right? But then it also means check, right? Chess means check. I'll show you that word later or whatnot, right? But then, I'm always talking about like, yo, man, I'm going to show you the game. This is the game, right? Because we live in a world, right, where, you have good and you have evil, right? And then our Creator created us, and then he said, now you have to choose. You have knowledge, and now you have knowledge of good and evil. Now you must choose which side you want to be on, right? And then this is all I like to do now, right, is I just like to look at it because for me it's just so simple, right? It's either like if it goes back to love, then that means it's good. If it doesn't go back to love, that means it's not good. That means it's bad, it's evil, it's backwards, and boom, I just keep it super simple, right? So here, I'm going to show you where I get these words from, right? So this is always foundation for us, right? We always want to start off in Genesis because Genesis lets us know where our genes, our birth comes from, right? Because God said, let us make man in our image. Done. I'm done right there, right? And then God said, let them have dominion over all the earth, right? Done. Okay, so that means that man, woman, child, we have a huge responsibility over all the earth, right? And also we were created in the image of God, man. So that's pretty cool, right? I like that. So check this out too. So when I'm always talking about, I'm a lawman, right? It's because I'm just doing what my man Christ told me to do. So my brother Christ came down here, and he showed us how we're supposed to be, right? He even, they even left the words for us so we can see, right? So whenever, I'm always talking about if it doesn't track back to love, then I don't even get with it. That I'm saying that's no law, no go, no show. Scary simple, right? Because look at, see, a lawyer asked him, meaning Lord Christ, a question, right? And then he said right here, which is the great commandment in the law? Okay, tell me, right? That's what the lawyer asked. So then Jesus said, thou shalt love thy Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul and with all thy mind. All right, that's cool. That's easy. That's done, right? This is the first and the great commandment. And the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. What? Okay, on these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets, right? So it's love, right? Love God, right? Love your neighbor, love yourself, right? And if you love everything like you love God, which you should love God with everything because God's the creator, right? So then you should be cool, man. It's so easy. Look at this, man. It's just really easy, right? So when you have a lot of lawyers go out there and they go blah, 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 statutory, blah, 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 code, blah, 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 mandates and things like that, you're like, yo, if it doesn't go back to love, bro, right, then that's no law, no go, no show, man. It's easy. It's so easy now, right? So check this out. We like to show Luke 11:52, right? Because Luke 11:52 is some serious knowledge, man, right? Look at it. It says, woe unto you lawyers, for ye have taken away the key of knowledge, right? Ye entered not in yourselves, and them that were entering in ye hindered, right? So when you ask your lawyers questions and then they go blah, 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 code, blah, 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 statute, blah, 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 mandate, and things like that, then your lawyer's not giving you the key of knowledge, man, because if it doesn't go back to love, right, then it's no law, no go, no show. Simple, right? All right, let's show you some words, man. So we always like to roll with the fiduciary, right? Because we are the fiduciary of God's property, right? So God gave us the trust. God confided into us. God persuaded us to hold the property of God in trust, right? It's done. It's easy, right? That's just what we do, man. And when you trust, that means you're solid and you're firm, man. Scary simple, right? So check this out. This is how we do it now, right? We do it with notice, right? And when we send notice, because we know, right? So once you know, right? That's just how it is, man. You don't have beliefs, right? You don't have any of that stuff. Once you know something, you got that knowledge, you got that intelligence, you got that information, right? And then once you know that everything traces back right here, right? Once you know everything has to go back to love, then man, you know what's up, right? And then once you know that you're the fiduciary and you have the trust, right? Because God confided into you by giving you authority over God's property, which he said right here, where is it? Right here, over all the earth, right? Dominion over all the earth. That's a huge responsibility, man. That's a huge responsibility. Now, so we're giving all the men and all the women that hear these words right now, we're letting you guys know this is notice, right? You have the knowledge and you have the intelligence now that you are the fiduciary of all the earth. Why? That's what God said. It's really easy, right? So here's another one, affidavit, right? We like this one too, because when you track affidavit back, it goes to trust, right? So now we're already back at fiduciary. Okay, simple, right? But when you write it down, when you write the word down, a declaration upon an oath, and you say, boom, these are the words, I swear, I trust that these words are the words, and you put them down on a piece of paper, and you say, now prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, show me that I'm wrong, right? Show me where you get your power from, show me where you get your authority from, and you better put it in an affidavit form. You better put it in notice, right? You better write it down, and you better allow me to be able to see what it is that you're trying to say, right? I don't want to hear any more trickery. I don't want to hear any more codes. I don't want to hear any more statutes. I don't want to hear any more mandates, right? I don't want to hear any of that being called law anymore, right? Because that's trickery, right? Unless you put it down in affidavit form that says you have authority to do what you can do, right? Then we don't talk anymore, man, right? You better show me where your trust comes from. You better confide into me where your trust and your power comes from, because my power comes from God. That's where it comes from. Why? Because he said it right here. Let them, meaning man, have dominion over everything, right? So this is what we do now, right? We do everything through notice and we do everything through affidavit because we like to show the knowledge and we like to show the trust, right? Because we're the fiduciary. Okay, so let's keep it going. The way we do that is we like to dress, right? We like to wear clothes too, but we wear a uniform, right? See, this is a dress too. My skin is a dress, right? It just allows me to move in a straight line, right? So when we dress down our public servants, right, we have to make sure that they get straight, right? We regulate them, right? R-E-G, reg, right? Regal, moving straight line, right? So as long as they're moving straight based off of the words that we tell them, then we're cool, man. We're so cool, right? So ready? Here we go. Let's get into some shows right here. Hey, God's people, what's up, man? All right, so this one's going to be for you, right? Because all men, all women, all children, we are children of the Most High. We are all God's people, and we have a duty and we have a responsibility to administer God's kingdom, God's dominion. That's all the earth. That's huge, right? Now I know that there's a lot of us out there, right? And then we're all over the realm, right? But you just have to bloom where you're planted, man. So wherever you are, right, you have to be the light, right? You have to be the word, and you have to show every man and every woman around you what's up, man. So that means you got to go knock on doors. You got to go send out notice. You got to go send out affidavit wherever it is that you are, man. And then you also have to connect with the other people too. And you be like, hey, what's up? I'm over here. Where are you guys at? Right. And then once you guys unite and once you guys associate, you guys are going to be cool, man. So we're not divided anymore, right? We're all one people. Scary simple. God's people's one people, right? All right. So check this out, right? Here goes the order of the realm. This is what we call our timeout. And before we do this timeout, because before we take off, right, we always have to show what the order is, right? Remember, God created the world. Check. Remember, God created man, aka the people. Check. Remember, people created states. Check. Remember, people created constitutions. Check. Remember, people created governments. Check. Question: When did government become boss of the people? Okay, so we're always looking for that one. When did government become boss of the people? When did government get authority to tell we the people what we can and can't do with our property? That's always going to be the question, right? I always say, because God always says the people are the boss of all government. It's really simple, right? So that's what we're going to show right now. The way we show that is we cruise with the grand jury, man. The grand jury is a great word, but we like to show the function. So this is the function of the grand jury, is to investigate the operations of various officers, departments, and agencies of local government, right? So we the people have lots of local governments, right? If you live in a city, you have a local government, right? If you work for some form of corporation, right, and then they're taking federal money or any type of state money, right, that's called a local government, right? That also means that we're the boss of them, right? So all men, all women, even the children, right? You can practice this too, right? Is that once you look at all the businesses as your property, right? Because you have to administer them because they are within the kingdom, right? And this whole earth is the kingdom, and you have to make sure that they're doing good, right? That's what you have to do, right? Because you have to choose between good and you have to choose between evil, right? That's just what happened, when Eve, and Adam had eaten the fruit from the tree, right? They got the tree between, they got the knowledge, right? So once they got the knowledge and they know what good and evil is now, they have to go through and they have to administer. And it's a huge responsibility, man, because once you know what good is and once you know what evil is, now you have the ability to choose, right? And that's the game, man, right? Is that you have to choose, right? And it's kind of difficult, because sometimes what you think is good, it's not good, right? It's not good because it's evil, because it's making you live backwards, because you have to do what God says that you have to do if you choose, right? So I chose God, and that's just what I do now. And that's why I instruct all the time, right? And I show God the word, right? Because that's what he told me to do. Scary simple, right? So check this out right here. So one of the ways that we do this is that we always show the maxims, right? Because we like to start with 11, because 11 is authority, 11 is power, right? We like to see our servants and we like to see our jurisdiction, right? Because we delegate, right? God delegated power to us, the people, to administer everything. So therefore, we look at what delegated power can and cannot do, right? Check this out. A delegated power cannot be, again, delegated. That's a fact, right? A deputy cannot have or appoint a deputy. That's a fact, right? So I can't delegate power for somebody to take care of my body, right? I cannot do that, right? Because I have a duty and I have an obligation to take care of my body, right? God gave me one body. I must take care of it, right? So I am the fiduciary of God's property, the body. Scary simple, right? I can't go and say, okay, here, I'm going to appoint another deputy to take care of it, right? So then I can't go and I can't say, hey, Mr. Doctor, can you make sure that my body is running at 100%? No, I cannot do that. I can go and I can talk with men, and I can go talk with women who might have knowledge, and then I can consult with them, and then I can say, okay, show me what's up, man, and then I can make the best decision based off of the information that I get, right? That's what I'm supposed to do, right? They don't have the authority to tell me what I can and can't do with my property, with my body, man. It's really simple, right? So let's keep it going, right? So this is what we do with the grand jury right here. Hold on, I'm going to take a sip of coffee, man. It's in the morning time, So when we hang out with the grand jury, we always look for a couple things. One of them is maladministration, right? And then what we look for is bad small masters. And then the way that we know that they're a bad small master is that if they're either faulty or improper management of the affairs of the people, right? So if they don't follow the rules that we wrote down for them to do, then we call that maladministration, right? And then if they make sure, or if none of the people are happy, and if none of the people are free, or if none of the people are feeling safe or anything like that, if none of the people are in love, right, or feel cared for, we call that maladministration, man. It's really easy now because we can see it, because we wrote down the rules, man. The rules are written. We can look at them and we can hold every administrator accountable, right? And then we could say you're either benefiting or you're not, right? And if you're not, that means you're in maladministration. Scary simple, right? Another thing we look for is treason. And we look for anybody who's delivering or handing over the trust of the people. Done. Really easy, right? Another thing we look for is war, right? We look for war because if they try to confuse us, if they try to mix us up by like calling us something outside of what we are because we're the people, right? So if they try to call us anything outside of that, so if they try to confuse the people and call the people a person, right? If they try to call the people a worker, if they try to call the people an employee or any other thing like that, and then say, well, now that you're this title right here, we have control over you. That's war. That's really simple now, right? So if they try to call the people a student, and then they try to confuse you, and now they say that because we are in control of the students, we can do what we want with your property. No way. You can't do that, man. A title is a title. A title is not the people, right? And the people control all the titles, man. It's really simple, right? So once you understand that, man, you're going to be free, right? But this is what we have to look for, right? So we have to walk through the realm, and we have to check and make sure that there's no maladministration going on. We have to check and make sure that there's no treason going on. And we have to check and make sure that there's no war going on. And in the way that we do that is we use the constitutions, right? So here's one of the constitutions right here, the California Constitution. Here's the preamble. And then the preamble is always going to set you up with the hierarchy and let you know who's boss, right? So before we walk, we always read this. Remember this. We, the people of the state of California, grateful to Almighty God, high God, thanks for the shine, for our freedom, in order to secure and perpetuate its blessings, do establish this Constitution, right? So the people are grateful to God, right? Because God gave the people freedom, right? And then the people created the constitutions, which are the rules, right? This is the code that the people wrote down for our public servants to understand and work under and within, right? So everything within the realm is operating under some form of constitution. And we, the people, are the boss of that because God is the boss of the people, man. Scary simple, right? So check this out right here. So here goes Article 1, California Constitution, right? This time we're coming down to Section 3, right? Because we want to check this out right here, right? Because we're looking at a specific entity right now, right? So we're being very specific, right? So check this out. The people have the right to instruct, right? That means to show you knowledge, right? Their representatives petition government for redress. We're putting you straight, right? Of grievances, and assemble, that means come together freely to consult, right? We can speak as much as we want for the common good, right? So we choose good. The people choose good, right? So whatever it is that we're talking about that is good for the people, that's what we're talking about, man. So whenever we come together and whenever we unite as one of the people, that's what we're talking about, right? So whenever we say, hey, that doesn't look like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing according to the rules, right, then we're going to dress you down and make sure that you get straight, right? And we do that through instruction. And in the way that we instruct is that we send you notice, right? We send you knowledge, and we send you knowledge in the mail. Right now we can send you knowledge through video, right? But we send you knowledge through the mail, and then we make sure we get our little piece of paper back that says that the contract is complete, man. That's just what we do now, man, because that's what we're supposed to do, right? So we have a duty and we have an obligation to instruct all of our representatives, right? So any entity that's falling under the jurisdiction of the Constitution is a representative, right? Remember that, right? So all corporations, if you fall under the Constitution if you're registered and you're paying taxes, right? That means that you now are one of the people's servants. It's really simple now, right? So don't ever, people, man, woman, child, don't ever let a corporation tell you what's up, what you can and can't do with your property, right? So if you're going to a school, right, and then you're trying to get your learn on because you're trying to get some knowledge, right? Don't ever let the teacher, who is your servant, tell you what you can and can't do. Yes, you must treat them with respect when you go in there because you're just getting knowledge from them, right? But don't ever let them try to brainwash you and tell you what's up, right? Because if it doesn't go back to love, then they don't know what's up, man. And you're just there to get some knowledge, right? Don't ever let a lawyer tell you what's up, right? Because if it doesn't go back to love, then that's no law, no go, no show, right? Don't ever let a doctor try to tell you what's up if it doesn't go back to love, right? So if they try to tell you to do something that's going to cause harm to your body, right, and then they're trying to use their ability, because they might be calling themselves a medical doctor, and they say that I've gone to medical school and I understand this and you don't. You're like saying, hey, but wait, I can read information, man. So I'm just consulting with you right now, right? I'm just consulting with you because I want to make sure that I do what's good for my body, right? And then if you're telling me to put something on my body or put something inside of my body that is known to cause harm to the body, right, then you don't know what's up, man, right? You don't know what's up. I mean, you might be able to read some papers and you might be able to read some documents that say that, well, based off of the evidence that we see, this is the best thing for us. It's like, well, where'd you get that evidence from, bro? How do you know that they know what's up, right? Because that's just how science goes, man, is that you always have to question, man, and we're always going on a quest because that's what we seek, man. We seek that knowledge, okay? Let's keep it going, man. So here goes. Let me get another sip of coffee. So here goes Article 3, California Constitution, Section 3. Remember this right here. Right. The powers of state government are legislative, executive, and judicial. Done. Right. Persons charged with the exercise of one power may not exercise either of the others except as permitted by this Constitution. Right, so we've given all of our public servants only limited abilities. They have very limited abilities, right? So check this out right here. See, they wrote a 3.5. We the people never really did this, but this is what our public servants did because, they were going out of bounds and stuff like that. But this is what it says. An administrative agency, including an administrative agency created by the Constitution or an initiative statute, has no power. Right, they have no power at all. Right, you can read this, the rest of this, but just know that if you're an administrative agent or an agency, you have no power to tell the people what they can and can't do. Period. The end, man. That's just how it goes, right? Because we have limited government, right? Legislative, right? So you're either making the law or you're executing the law or you're judging the law. That's all you can and can't do, man. Right? You can't mess with our property. Scary simple, right? So check this out. So we like this image right here because it's easy, right? Remember, God created man, woman, child, the people, right? So God's up top. The people are number two. The people are always number two in command, right? Because the people created constitutions, and then the constitutions created everything that the realm functions in, right? So all of our governments function within or under the Constitution, right? But if you always know that the people are on top, and on top of the people is God, right? Because that's how the hierarchy works, right? You have God, you have the people, then you have the constitutions, and then the people are the bosses of the constitutions, which means the people are the bosses of all the people who make the laws. The people are the bosses of all the people who execute the laws. The people are the bosses of all the people who interprets the laws, right? And then all the corporations and all those entities sit under here, right? And these are all the other entities that all these other entities are administering to, right? So if any of these entities are causing harm to the people, right, and then they're making sure that we're not going back to love, right, then we're going to always call that maladministration, man, because the people are always on top, man. Scary simple, right? All right, here goes another image, right? So this one is called the California state government, the executive branch, right? I'm just, they already did it. It's so easy. Look, right? So look who's on top. The people. Right, the people of California, right? So if you're a man, if you're a woman, that means you're one of the people, right? And if you send them knowledge and you let this entity right here called the governor know what's up, then this governor has to let all of these other entities know that the people are telling them what to do, right? An example of that will be is like if the governor or not the governor, but if the people send notice to the governor and says that, hey, just letting you know that the people are free by nature, right? And just letting you know that the people aren't employees, and just letting you know that the people aren't this and aren't that, and the people don't fall under the jurisdiction of any type of government employee. Therefore, you don't have any ability to mess with the people's property, meaning the people's bodies, right? And we send that to the governor, then the governor has a duty and an obligation to let everyone else know, right? So then once the governor lets everyone else know, that means no corporation should be telling the people what they can and can't do with their property, right? Your body's your property. It's really easy. crazy, right? So no corporation, right? No government entity should be telling the people what has to go inside of their body or what they can put on their body, right? They don't have that ability, right? They don't have the ability to take the people's property. They can't touch the people's property, right? There's so many things that our government entities cannot do, right? But we, the people, just have to send them knowledge, right? So once we send them knowledge through the notice, and then once we send them the trust through the affidavit, boom, we're cool, man. But we always have to instruct these people, because that's just the rules of the game, man. So once you instruct these people, you got them, right? You got them bound, right, by contract, right? Here's another one right here, right? So here's the California Department of Public Health, right? So here's another entity that we, the people, are the boss of, right? So we're the boss of the Department of Public Health, done, right? So we're the boss of the director, done, right? Because the boss of the director is the governor, right? And we're the boss of the governor, done. Okay, so just know that all of these entities too, we're in charge of all of them, right? It's very simple, right? All right, let's keep it going, right? Remember, so we were hanging out with the fiduciary duty. What's up, Cornell? We're going to show you what's up too, right? So here's what the fiduciary duty is, man. It's so easy. Just check this out. When someone has a fiduciary duty to someone else, meaning the people, right, the person, meaning the corporation, right, with the duty must act in a way that will benefit, meaning make good, right, someone else, meaning the people, usually financially, right? But basically you just got to make the people well, and you got to make them whole, man. That's what you have to do every time, right? So see, corporations have a fiduciary duty. Remember that, right? Remember that. Okay, so all governments are municipal corporations. Remember that, right? And then because we, the people, are the boss of them, right? It says so right here. I'll show you right here, right? So the governor is a corporation. The governor is a person, right? So we're in charge of this person, and by default, we're in charge of all these other persons, and all of these other persons are corporations. You see this right here? University of California Board of Regents, we're the boss of them, right? So all the universities, boss, right? We're the boss of so many entities right here, right? It's just ridiculous, man. That's why you got to do a lot of work, and you got to read the word, right? So we have the fiduciary duty to administer and make sure that those entities are doing good, right? If they're not doing good, that means they're doing bad. And we know when they're doing bad is when they're harming the people, man. Scary simple, right? All right, so check this out. So we were looking at this one right here, the business judgment, right? Why were we looking at that one? Was that over here? Duty of care, right? Was it in the duty of care? Duty of faith? Charity? Nah, I don't remember, right? There was something that I was reading in here, right? Because, well, basically all the corporations are businesses and things like that, right? But then, oh yeah, I remember, because it was when you were reading the duty of care. Right, so check this out. So if you pop on duty of care, right, duty of care right here takes you to business judgment, right? Courts analyze the duty of care by applying the business judgment, right? The business judgment rule, and examining the process by which the directors and officers made decisions, right? So that's what we look for, right? So an example of this would be, it was like when one of the people sends knowledge to the corporations and says that, hey, I'm just presenting myself as one of the people, and then one of the people presents themselves to the corporation and the board of the corporation, then boom, now you have a fiduciary duty to make sure that the people are free, right? That's what you have to do, right? Here, I'll show you right here, right? So this is an instruction, right? But then you have to make sure that the people, see, all people are by nature free, right there. All people are by nature free and independent and have inalienable rights, right? So when you let the directors know what's up, right, that's just what you're doing, man. Where was it right here, right? So you have to let the directors know that they have a duty of care, right? And then if they don't share that care, because another word for care is love, right? So they have a duty of love, right? So if it doesn't go back to love because you don't feel free, and if you don't feel happy, right, and if you don't feel safe, then that means it's no love, man. And then that means that they're breaching the trust, man. Scary simple. We call that treason. Okay, so check this out. Look at the business judgment, right? The business judgment rule. See, this one is fun, right? So this is what my mind was thinking about this morning, because I was just like, like looking at how all the lawyers on the screen, and then how all the people are chattering, and then they're just like, oh my God, this is gonna be such a good case in the Supreme Court and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, all right, well, what exactly are the elements, right? The elements is that all businesses have a fiduciary duty to make sure that the people are in love, right? So if the people don't feel the love from any of the businesses, and then that means the businesses are breaching the trust, right? So the businesses all have a duty of care to make sure that the beneficiary is made whole and made one, right? The people are the beneficiary. Remember that, right? So the businesses have to understand who the beneficiary is, right? That's just what they have to do, right? So when you see this right here, right, because now we're going into the court, right? And then the court is just another game board, right? That's why I had the chess pieces up there, because we're playing the game now. The game is scary simple now. So now we're going to show them what's up through the game. So you have a business judgment rule, right? And then when you scroll down right here, right, it says in suits alleging a corporation's director violated their duty of care to the company, courts will evaluate the case based on the business's judgment rule, right? The business judgment rule, right? So this is what they're basing it on, right? And then under this standard, a court will uphold the decision, right? That means that they will say, okay, director, you did what you were supposed to do, as long as they are made of one in good faith, right? Okay. So if you get knowledge from one of the people that says that you don't have the authority to do something to the people, then boom, you just knock that one out, right? Because that means you don't have good faith. And 2, with the care that a reasonable, prudent person would use, right? So a reasonable, prudent person. What is that? Okay, let's just look it up, right? So we can get some words, okay? The prudent person rule, also known as the prudent investor rule, holds that a fiduciary may only invest in securities, right? Sounds like money, right? That a reasonable person would purchase, evaluated from the perspective of probable income, right? Okay, so this has to deal with money, right? So money has nothing to do with the property of the people. Okay, remember that. Okay, so check this out. 3, with reasonable belief that the director is acting in the best interest of the corporation. So what is the best interest of the corporation? The best interest of the corporation is to make sure that the people are in love, right? And that means they have to be right here. I'm going to show you again, right? All people are by nature free, right? And independent and have inalienable rights, right? So if the people are feeling like any of these are being interfered on, because of your right here, because of your business judgment, an example of that would be is if the businesses are now telling the people that they have to put something inside of their body in order for them to earn property, or they have to put something on their body in order for them to earn property, right? Or they have to test their body in order for them to earn property, right? So all of those are just breaches of the fiduciary duty, right? And then we'll get you every time for maladministration, we'll get you every time for treason, and we'll get you every time for war, right? Because we're going to show you, because when we send you knowledge, and knowledge is notice, and when we send you affidavit, right, and affidavit is trust, right, and we send you that, we got the contract, man, and if you guys don't respond to the contract, then that means you know what's up, you know who the boss is, right? And then see right here, right here where it says, there are a number of ways to defeat the business judgment rule. Simple, right? If the plaintiff, can prove that the director acted in gross negligence or bad faith, then the court will not uphold the business judgment rule, right? So whenever you send notice, right, and then they still act, right, and then they do because they say that, well, we have to follow it because this is what the governor says, right? Then that means that they're in gross negligence, right? That means that they are in bad faith, right? And then you got them, right? If they're getting money, from federal agencies or things like that for them to put something inside of someone or on someone, right? Then that's called a conflict of interest, right? And then boom, you're done, man. You guys are done, right? So it's going to be so easy just to walk it out and walk it through, right? Because there was like thousands of people that sent notice, and then they sent affidavit to corporations, and then they sent them to the boards of their corporations, and they sent them to the governors, and they sent them throughout the whole nation, right? Because we flipped the nation. Shout out to my man David Jose, right? Because we did that, because that's what we had to learn, man. So we learned that the people were the boss, and then we were sending out the knowledge of the people being the boss, And then boom, now we got you. Now we're just going to walk it out real slow because we're going to keep instructing the people, right? And we're just going to have fun, man, because you remember when the lawyers were chasing the ambulances, right? Because, lawyers like conflict. We don't like conflict. We like love, right? So lawyers practice law. The people protect the law. That's just how it is, right? Example, medical doctors practice, right? They practice. The people protect, right? So medical doctors practice health, and then the people protect the health. It's really simple, right? So we don't practice anything. We just protect, right? Because we have a duty and an obligation to protect God's property. Scary simple, right? All right, so check this out. This is how we're going to get them every time, right? Let me take another sip of coffee, man. 18 U.S. Code, subsection 2242, deprivation of rights under the color of law. Sip. So this one is easy, right? We just know if they prevent us from being in love, right? And then they take away any of this right here, so if I don't feel private, right, because they're making me fill out papers and things like that, and then they're trying to look at my private information, right, I'm going to get you there. If I don't feel happy, I'm going to get you there. If I don't feel safe, I'm going to get you there, right? If I don't feel like I can protect my property because you're making it very difficult for me to do things, I'm going to get you there, right? If I don't feel like I can get anything, right? If I don't feel like I can defend my life, right, because you made it very difficult for me to get my arms, I'm going to get you there, right? If I feel like I can't go and I can't set up shop in places because you've made it so difficult, because you've made the public servants so misinformed about who the hierarchy in the realm is, right? I'm going to get you for interfering with my liberty, man, every time, right? Because you guys wrote the rules down on your own, right? So all the codes and all the statutes, man, those don't bind the people. All ordinances, they don't bind the people. The people are in a completely separate jurisdiction, right? The people are private, right? The people are of oneself, man. Scary simple, right? So now we know, right, because you're going to be always using a code or a statute or some form of regulations to try to say that you're binding the people to a contract, because when we send you notice and we send you affidavit, we're letting you know who the boss is, right, which means that we're separate. We're not in the same jurisdiction, man. So if you try to keep using your jurisdiction that you regulate, the entities that you can only regulate in, we're going to get you for deprivation of rights under the color of law every time, man. And it's fun, because it's a game and we get to use the pen and paper, right? We get to use the pen and paper and we get to show you guys what's up, man, because we're just trying to show you the love, man. Scary simple, right? So check this out, right? So we always want you to know that we're private, man. Private means separate. Private means individual. Private means two words in front of before, right? Forward, being separate, oneself, right? Free, that's love, right? So when you're private, you're love. Remember that, okay? Property, another word. We like this, but this one's fun right here. Property, see? Proprius, one's own. Special. Hey, I'm special. I'm one's own. All right, check this out. Benefit, right? Look at this one. This one is a fun one too. Oh, excuse me. Bene meaning well. Facere, to do. Well to do, right? Set put, right? Well meaning one. Well meaning whole. Simple, right? So check this out. So here goes one of our public servants in the California Department of Public Health, right? And then look at what this is the about section, right? Remember this right here too. Remember that this is called an administrative agency, right? And an administrative agency has no power. Why? Because the people are up top, right? And an administrative agency is way down here, somewhere down there in the bottom, right? So this is one of those bottom dwellers right here, in the California corporation, right? And then look at what they're trying to say that they have the ability to do, right? So if you go right here, where is it? Yeah, right there, right? Yeah, so CDPH's key activities and services include protecting, right? Protecting. So the people never gave you the ability to protect the people, right? You don't have that ability. You don't have that authority. You don't have that power. You know why? Right here. Your delegated power. You're not even delegated power. You're a deputy. You're a deputy from a delegated power, which means a deputy doesn't have any power or any ability over we the people, right? You know why? people are on top, right? You know, so this is called delegated power, right? So delegated power has no power over the people, right? You only have the power to make sure that all of these entities are doing what the people say that they can do, right? And if it doesn't go back to love, then we're going to get you every time for maladministration, man, right? You know, so here goes an entity right here who believes that it has the ability to protect the people. No, you don't. That's not your job. The people protect themselves, man. That's just how it goes, right? You know, so we got them on their words, right? So here goes the September 132022. This is one of the words right here. So we're going to show you an example of maladministration. We're going to show you an example of treason, and we're going to show you an example of war, right? Subject, healthcare worker, vaccine requirements, right? You know, so what these entities always try to do is that they always try to label the people, not people, right? So when you see this right here, worker, right, what they're referring to as the people, right? Because the people do the work, because people make things go, right? You know, but when they call a people a worker, then they get power over this definition, right? So they get power over this term right here, and then they say, well, we got to make sure all the workers are this and all the workers are that, right? So then they get control over that, but then the people don't know that they're separate from a worker, right? Because a worker is just a word that can go and do things, right? You know, that's a title, right? And people are in control of all titles. Well, we're the boss of all titles and then the bosses of all persons, right? And that's just how it is, man. You know, so right here we got them. Scary simple. This is an example of maladministration, right? This is an example of treason, and this is an example of war, right? We don't even have to read the rest, because once you see that they're trying to mislabel the people and they're trying to call the people workers, boom, you got them, man. Scary simple, right? You know, because that's just what we do now, right? You know, here's another example of maladministration, right? Here's coming from the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, right? You know, this is the summary of guidance for minimizing the impact of the COVID-19 on individual persons, communities, and healthcare systems, right? So this is August 2022, right? And then if you scroll down right here, right, here we go. What does it say right here? Where did I get it at? Yeah, where did I get it? Here we go. Right. So what is already known about this topic? We don't care. Right. What is added by this report? See right here. To prevent medically significant illness and death persons. Right. You see that? So whenever you see the persons again, you know that they're mislabeling the people. Right. And then that's called treason. Right. You know, they're handing over the trust to something else, because a person is a corporation, right? You know, a person is not a people. A person is something else. The people are in charge of persons, right? The people control persons, right? But the people are not persons. Remember that, right? So when they try to say persons must understand their risks, a person doesn't have a mind. A person can't do that, right? You know, a person is just an entity called a corporation. How would they understand their risk, right? They're not a living being, right? They're not a living being. A person is not a living being, because a person is a mask, man. So when you know that, then you get them for maladministration, then you get them for treason, then you get them for war, right? Scary simple, right? So here's another one. What's up, Cornell? Right, you know, so Cornell, we just go into here, right? Here goes U.S. Code 26, or Title 26, U.S. Code subsection 7701, right? This is for the IRS, right? Internal Revenue Systems, which is a no law, right? You know, no law, no go, no show, right? But these are just the definitions that they use, right? You know, so that when they want to understand the realm, right? So you see what they define a person as? The term person shall be construed to mean and include an individual. That's not a man, that's not a woman, that's not the people, right? A trust, estate, partnership, association, company, or corporation, right? You know, so if it doesn't say man, if it doesn't say woman, if it doesn't say the people, right, boom, you know, you got them every time. Deprivation of rights under the color of law, because they're trying to mislabel you every time. They're trying to mislabel you and call you something else, man. You know, so that's it, man. You know, so I just wanted to show the fam, hey fam, check this out. This is why I call you guys family, right? Psalms 82:6. I have said, yea, are God's, and all of you are children of the Most High. So big G is saying that we're all little G's, right? So every man, every woman, all children, all of us out there, we're all little G's, man, right? So we're all little G's because that's what Big G said. Big G said, hey, you're all little G's, man. You guys are all children of the Most High. So when you look up and you see those stars and you just look at that great big universe out there and you're like, thank you. You're like, thank you, Father. Thank you, Mother. Thank you, Holy Ghost. Thank you, Christ, right? That's what I do. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for this really big family that I have, right? Even though I know that some of them don't believe that we're family because, we might look differently or we might speak different languages, but I know that we're all children of the Most High. And I love my family, right? I love every man. I love every woman. I love every child out there. I love everything that God created because that's just what we're supposed to do, man. It's so much fun, man, because I care for all. Stupid simple, right? So check this out. Here goes another one of our reps, right? Here goes John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, done. And the Word was with God, done. And the Word was God, done, right? So this is what the thing that we're always putting in our head, right, is because we like to look at the words because the words are like programs for us. And once we know that the Word and God is the same, then we like to break it down and we like to see what God's trying to tell us, right? And if it doesn't go back to love, then we know that we're dealing with the adversary, right? Scary simple, right? So it's either you choose God or you choose Mammon, right? I choose God every time, hands down, right? My squad is God. My squad is Christ. My squad is Holy Ghost, right? Boom, we're good, man. That's how we walk. That's my family, right? And all the other little G's out there, you guys are family too. And I'm going to care for you and I'm going to love you even though you might not love me, right? You might think that I'm crazy, right? But I don't think that you're crazy. I just think that you're one of the lost ones, and I'm going to find you, and I'm going to bring you back, man. Scary simple, right? I got that from my man Christ, because that's what he said we're supposed to do, man. I will always go for the one, right? I will leave the 99 hanging out, right? But then if there's one out there wandering, I'm going to look for you. I'm going to look for you, because that's why we're about one body service, man, because I will find that one, and I will come and I will hang out with you, and I will talk with you, and I will say, come on, man, let's go back. Let's go back and let's go hang out, right? And, and I'll bring you back, one at a time, man. Stupid simple, man. We love this game. It's so much fun. All right, so check this out. We're going to close out with a timeout, right? Remember the order. God created the world. Check. Remember, God created man, aka the people. Check. Remember, the people created states. Check. Remember, the people created constitutions. Check. Remember, people created governments. Check. Question. When did government become boss of the people? Like I said, never. The answer is never, right? The people are the boss of everything. You know why? Right here. It says it right here, right? And let them have dominion over everything, right? So God made man in the image of God, right? And then God said, now, man, you have dominion over everything, right? But then the game right here, the game is this. You either choose God or you choose Mammon, right? And we'll know what you choose because of your fruits, man. We'll see what it is that you produce through your fruits. And then boom, we'll know what's up, man. Scary simple. I mean, you can go blah, blah, blah all day long, right? But we know who you are, what you are, and who you serve because of your fruits, man. Scary simple service. All right, well, that's it. I'm done, man. I just had to lay this track down, man, because God, I was just thinking about, the fiduciary, right? Because when I realized that I was the fiduciary over everything, right? And we have a duty and an obligation, and then now we must go out there and we must go talk to right here, right? We must go talk to God's people, and we must also share with God's people the knowledge, and we must also share with them the trust, and we must also show them how it's supposed to operate, man. And it's easy because all we do is just teach and we instruct. Scary simple service, man. All right, well, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to put this together, and I'm going to upload it, and I'm going to go have some fun. Remember, nobody's having more fun than us. Bye.